and welcome back to the Canon Factory, an elegant podcast for a more civilized age. I'm your host, Sean, and I'm joined by...
Adam. I'm Mike.
Brennan.
Richie.
Matt. Well, thanks, Matt, for gracing us with your presence.
Guys, I have a favorite.
Oh, God.
It's Matt.
After our week of news and extravaganza of discussion about cable and streamings and where everything's going, we're going to get back to our character analysis of the villains, and we're going to focus on the greatest villain of all, the Senate.
I thought you were going to say Ventress.
I thought you were going to say Darth Plagueis the Wise.
I thought you were going to say Luke Skywalker.
I thought I was going to say Ryan Johnson.
Those
These are great jokes, guys. Let's keep them going.
It's treason then.
It's treason.
We're like
I got a
2
question.
minutes in and
I got,
Sean's
all right,
I
already...
got a question.
Hit me with a question.
First questions. Number one question.
We're gonna go to the fan base for a question. Ike, our resident fan, go ahead.
That's not wrong. Every time, I'm just so taken aback by that.
I know.
All right, so yeah, question one about, we're talking about Sidious, right?
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Sidious, first question I got.
Sheev Palpatine, if you will.
Sheev Palpatine, if you will.
Yeah.
What does he look like as a Force Griffin?
Oh, stole it.
Oh!
Stole it.
Fully torqued right now.
Oh, you didn't think I'd go rogue, did you?
Oh,
I'm feeling spicy tonight, boys.
oh.
I
we
don't
are
think you'd be a...
spicy.
You were the chosen one!
Oh,
You're meant
do
to
you-
destroy the Force Griffin, not join them.
To me, the Force Griffins aren't evil.
Well, then you are lost.
we are clipping so hard right now.
Quality
So,
audio recording here.
to answer your question, I don't
Audio-
think he'd be a
audio-friendly
Force Griffin.
podcast,
Force
by the way.
Griffins are members of the light side that change into
No,
that.
there's also a member of the dark side.
I know, but he
he'd be
doesn't
one
turn
of
into a
those. He's like
griffin.
a bat.
He turns-
He's
yeah,
like a
he turns
bat
into like a
vampire
Oh,
thing.
that's a good point.
Turns into like a bat
Can
vulture.
we
Today's
define what
segment,
Griffin
Sean
means?
tries to establish a topic.
Oh, we are talking about Palpatine.
Okay, I'm good. We're back on top. I needed one rogue second.
I mean, if anybody could change into one.
yeah, that's kind of what I was
So
thinking.
yeah, Palpatine, arguably the strongest Force user of all time, that we've seen so far.
Do you think? Or no?
That we've
Can
seen.
we
yes.
define what you mean by
Are we-
Force user?
Are we gonna neglect the father, the son, and the daughter in Mortis? Because I would say they're stronger than him.
I mean, again, I think it goes back to what
I
I
mean,
was saying.
they don't
It
even
depends on
exist.
how you define it.
That's not true.
Anakin
fully
defeats
true.
them.
Yeah.
I mean, he
So then would
defeats-
that make Anakin stronger than them?
I
Since
would
Anakin
say
does
yes.
defeat Sidious at the end.
I would say that that was the point of Anakin getting drawn to Mortis, was because they were testing him to see how strong he was, if he could be the chosen one. So I would say yes.
I feel like in fan circles, it's generally
Whoa.
agreed upon that Palpatine has the most raw Force power that we've
mean,
seen.
I would say that he is...
Is it limited?
I don't think so.
If I had to say if it was limited,
Unlimited.
I would say...
Unlimited
to quote my favorite movie, the limit does not exist.
Oh my god!
that is a deep cut.
He doesn't even go here.
Sean's all, we got to stay on topic.
All right.
Oh, wait, no, but here-
I made a joke.
No, but here for a real question though. This is actually like no joke aside. When Darth
No
Vader
jokes aside?
no
So
jokes
we're only
aside.
joking.
Only joke. When Darth Vader defeats Sidious, is it Darth Vader that's defeating Sidious, or is it Anakin?
That's actually a
Anakin.
pretty good question. Yeah, I
Anakin.
think it's Anakin at that point.
Anakin's
So
the chosen
then,
one, not
would
Darth
that
Vader.
mean Anakin
They're
is
one and
stronger
the
than
same.
Sidious?
So here comes our chosen one.
Since Anakin is the chosen
Conversation
one,
again.
would he be stronger than Sidious?
That's
You
what I was
could make
trying to
an
say
argument.
before, was that
Oh, bring it back.
Anakin and Darth Vader, Anakin, I think, was more gifted in the Force. He had more raw power.
More
in the
midichlorians
Force.
is what you're trying to say.
However, Sidious was a master of what he did, and he was a master of manipulation
Is
and
that
cunning.
horsepower?
I'm not saying force power. I'm saying he was the most, I don't want to say efficient, but the most powerful being, because he knew how to use his power in the best way. Like, you can have a baseball player who's 10 out of 10 talent,
Okay.
but
Judge.
5 out of 10 out of using it,
Aaron
and
Judge.
not great. Aaron Judge, MVP, right? But you could have a player who's 5 out of 10 talent, but 10 out of 10 effort and knows how to do it, knows how to use what he's good at, and produces better.
So Sidious
You know
is
what I
5
mean?
out of 10?
I'm not in with the. I track what you're saying, but I'm not in with the sports
Here,
analogies.
I'll make a more modest claim. Palpatine is the strongest dark side user that we've ever seen. I think that's fair.
So far? Do you think
So
Snoke has
far.
a chance
Yeah,
to be stronger?
So far.
Do you think Kylo Ren has
It's
a
a
chance
more
to be
modest claim than he's the strongest Force user. He's the strongest dark side Force user that we've seen so far.
Cop out.
Maybe.
Just messing with you.
I'm
Okay,
trying to see
hold
where
on.
where the
Hold on,
line
what's
of Darth Vader
Yeah, I think it's a good point. I want to hear why. I think you're right. A lot of people say this.
I mean, he does have all. I think
Go
he's
ahead.
one of the only dark side people that have all their limbs still.
That's a good point. We're counting limbs.
I mean, if you just
But I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear why you say that. I kind of have a feeling where you're going to go with it, but for everyone, let's talk it out.
There's a couple reasons I would say. The first, I mean, when I think about Palpatine, I think about his power of manipulation. So he's kind of this grand puppet master that has been orchestrating pretty much everything all the way up until, especially in the prequels, you really see it. I mean, when we meet then Senator Palpatine in Episode 1, at that point he is already a Sith Lord, and so rewatching Episode 1, keeping in mind that he's manipulating literally everything that's happening, is kind of it's amazing to me. So I would say his power of manipulation is the first thing. The fact that he was able to turn the Chosen One to the dark side is a huge feat. And the second thing, which is pretty obvious, is that he did what the Sith hadn't done for 1,000 years, which is established an empire, like the first galactic empire.
But
like he successfully took over the galaxy.
Do you think he
for 30 years
turned Anakin, or do you think he exploited Anakin's feelings and nudged him in the right way?
Same thing.
Either way, yeah.
I don't think it is.
It is the same thing. I think Anakin made his choice, but he wouldn't have without Palpatine poisoning his mind.
He was in that web.
Yeah.
The way I see it is Anakin was like on the fence, and all he needed was a strong breeze one or the other way, and Sidious came and said, boop, and knocked him over.
I don't think he was on the fence at all.
Yeah.
I think he killed Mace, and he was like, oh, snap. What do I do now?
Well, I can't walk out of this
I
one.
killed Mace.
Guess
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
wouldn't-
get
I
on my
wouldn't
knees and pledge
describe-
my
He didn't
allegiance.
kill Mace.
I wouldn't
He chopped
describe-
off his hand.
Was
He stopped him
Mace
from.
really a Jedi,
He
though?
stopped him from
Thank
killing.
you,
Thank you,
Sidious.
Adam.
Wait, what is what?
He didn't kill Mace. Sidious killed Mace. All he did was he stopped Mace from killing Sidious, saying that he needed a
Semantics.
proper
You think
trial.
the Jedi are going to believe that?
Here's what I want to say. I do want to say one thing. I think that you can't have your cake and eat it too. And what I mean by that is either the Jedi suck, or Palpatine is amazing.
It's
So
it's the
you
second
can't
one.
you can't say
Well,
that
the Jedi-
if you say that the Jedi suck, then it devalues.
I think we already know where I
Palpatine.
stand on this one.
Right, then you're devaluing Palpatine and you're making Palpatine look weak.
No,
because then it didn't take that much to coerce them.
It's not that the Jedi suck.
I-
It's just that the Jedi were corrupted by Palpatine.
Right, you see what I'm getting though. So if the Jedi were really really good, then it makes Palpatine look better.
Not corrupted, cornered.
No, because
However you want to define it, you guys get the
he's
point.
still he's still super strong
Yeah, I get
because
you.
he deceived the entire Jedi Order.
Yeah,
I'm
but
saying,
if they're not any good, which you claim,
but we already
What-
saw
is that big
Anakin
of a
was
deal?
bad crazy because he killed friggin' all the Tusken
he's
Raiders.
getting hot. I'm gonna keep pressing this button.
So I don't think he was like, oh, I'm fully a Jedi. It's not like he's Obi-Wan. He was like, it might be a little dark.
Yeah, but here,
They
here's
should
the
be
thing.
forced to
he
listen.
wasn't- you
He was
described-
Oh yeah, he's a real good guy. No,
You describe Palpatine like he just had
I
to
like this,
nudge him
Brennan.
a
Let's
little
keep it going.
bit, and that's all it took. But I think you're being
I don't think it was
unfair.
Anakin's like, I'm a Jedi, and Palpatine's like, ooh, let me twist this weave, and now you're a Sith. No, he's like, Anakin's a weakling. Like he's not fully a Jedi.
No,
It's a lot more gray than
Yeah,
most.
He's a teenager.
But also you
He's
see
got so much angst.
you see hints of Palpatine doing this like way from the beginning in the Clone Wars, and if I'm not mistaken,
Mistaken?
Mistaken is what you're looking
in the Phantom Menace. He's got
We'll
his
watch
eye.
your career
He's
with
proud.
great interest.
Yes.
Well, no, I'm not saying he
So
hasn't.
he's
he hasn't been
weaving
putting in
that
the
web
work
for
since.
a minute.
I'm not saying he hasn't been putting work
for.
since
Well, considering
Anakin got
he created
there.
him, so
But I'm saying I don't think Anakin turning was that big of a fall. Like I think it would be a bigger deal if Sidious made Obi-Wan go over to the dark side, because Obi-Wan fully knew what he believed in. I don't think Anakin still didn't know. He was already had seeds of doubt, but whether they were
Right.
placed there by Sidious or not, I don't think all of them were.
I would argue that in a way, Palpatine successfully manipulated the entire Jedi Order. to the
Correct. I
point-
agree with you.
So in a way, he didn't turn Obi-Wan, but he's still like they didn't figure out it was Palpatine
No, he
until
deceived
it hit them in the face.
Absolutely. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm saying I don't think he was fully to blame for Anakin turning.
Oh, not fully. I mean, Anakin still made his choices. Sure, we're not saying like.
So I would say his greatest power isn't turning Anakin. I think his greatest power is deceiving the entire Jedi Order.
Oh, I
including
agree. I'm not
Yoda.
saying that his greatest power was that. I'm just saying I say that to accentuate Palpatine's power of manipulation, not just over Anakin, but over everybody. It took them a long time to figure out it was him. And they might not have had, what happened to Mace Windu not happen.
Well, the
Who
only reason
knows
they
when
knew is
they
because
would've figured
Anakin
out.
said, "Hey."
So give me the moral of the
he's a
story.
Sith leader.
What do you mean?
Give me the moral of the story, Brennan. What are you thinking?
No, I'm
You're
not
beating around the
disagreeing.
bush. I want to hear what you got to say.
I'm not disagreeing that Sidious was the strongest dark side user. My issue was saying that him turning Anakin was a major point of why he's the strongest Sith user. I think a major point of why he's the strongest Sith user is him being able to deceive the entire Jedi Order.
I think it's definitely it's one of the badges that he would wear if he were wearing a uniform. Be like, I turned Anakin. That's you know what I'm saying? Like that's definitely a point on his pole.
A demerit badge.
Right.
Because this comes back into episode 6 when you saw how I guess this is more of a testament to Anakin that he turns back to the light side
Sure.
because of his son.
Sure.
So the Sidious stopped trying to where's his power there? Why couldn't he
Well,
make
that's
Luke?
why-
Why couldn't he make Luke?
That's
come
why
to the
Luke
dark
is
side?
so amazing. Is that he was the only person that ever, in the face of Palpatine's manipulation,
So then,
straight up just
with
looked him
that
in the eye
logic,
and
you
said
saying
no.
Luke's stronger than Anakin?
I mean, this is a debate we've had before.
Well,
but
I'm just trying to understand where you guys are coming
It's just
from.
different because Anakin was in direct relations with Palpatine through his entire upbringing.
You're right.
Whereas Luke only met him when he fought him at the end. Well, didn't fight him, but when he was
And when he
defeated.
met him, he was a full-grown adult,
Right.
not a teenager that's like, I don't
Right.
know what's right.
I mean, you see in the comics that Palpatine takes Anakin under his wing and brings him on missions into the deep, seedy places of Coruscant to kind of spy and look around and be his bodyguard type of thing. But yeah, I mean, to think it's impressive. Yeah, that Luke says turns him down in the face of it, but it's it's nowhere near a comparison to I think what Anakin went through.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my thing is, yes, it's a good feat, but I don't think it's a major reason why he's the best baddie of all time.
I think an interesting point that I think also is kind of at the core of this discussion is how are we going to define the Force? Because is manipulation a quote unquote Force power, or how does that?
Right. So
how does the Force play into the social schematics of quote unquote turning Anakin or deceiving the Jedi?
I don't see it on my
how
Force
does
tree
this-
for the RPG, but
How does How does it work? Is that a Force power, and if so, how and when, and how does that play out? And because I think the same thing could be said for Luke. That's why I think
Sure.
there's another. Did Luke didn't go crazy in Return of the Jedi. He used his powers of
He did for a second.
yeah, but not very long. Not comparatively. He didn't go crazy off of this lightsaber. How he won was through his mind and turning his father, and he didn't go crazy with the lightsaber to win the battle. Just like Shiv doesn't go crazy to win his battle.
Shiv.
A boy.
I
Same thing. What are you doing?
I feel like
Come on
his,
now.
I feel like his manipulation
hear it.
is
Let's hear what
at
you're gonna
least definitely an attribute of the Sith. So that's why I think I would retract my previous claim and at least make the more modest claim that he's the most powerful dark side user or the most powerful Sith of all time.
is manipulation a part of the Sith? What do you call Jedi mind tricks?
I mean, yeah, that's still, but it's not really the same thing. It's not the same kind of manipulation. It's
Obi-Wan
like
changed a guy's career.
It's like a very Sith thing. Just
Want
hear
some
me
death
out.
sticks?
Hear me out. It's a very Sith thing for an apprentice to murder the master and want to be the number one guy. And Sheev, Palpatine successfully did that over one of the strongest Sith that we know of ever, Darth Plagueis. So,
Is that confirmed?
I mean, yeah.
I mean, here's an interesting point. Just by the nature of it, he has to be the strongest, right?
yeah,
Because he's stronger than every person before him who killed their master before them.
right. So every Sith in the line of succession never accomplished what Palpatine accomplished. And he was able to maintain it for 30 years until Luke Skywalker came along. Or Anakin, depending on how you look at it.
And that's an interesting question that we should talk about is why did it come to an end? Did he make a mistake?
Palpatine?
Yeah.
Well,
If he did make a mistake,
he
what was the
underestimated the power
mistake?
of love.
he underestimated Anakin. He underestimated Luke. Yeah, I mean, it's...
He just
Or was it the
Pride.
Force that willed it?
Ooh.
See, these are things that I want to
And-
delve into with the current trilogy.
So let me ask you guys a question. Why do you think he accepted Vader's idea of turning him into a powerful ally.
Because, like you guys are saying, Palpatine always wanted the next best thing, and Luke was Anakin, but with 4 more limbs.
Yeah, but we see in Clone Wars that he's so against having his apprentice having an apprentice.
Well, because he knew Luke would kill Vader. That's what he wanted Luke to kill Vader.
Right. He
and
wanted
then
Luke
have
to kill
Luke
Vader.
to realize I just killed my father.
And that would be
And
his,
how am I any better?
Okay.
Luke
And then-
killing Vader would be Anakin killing Mace Windu.
Yep.
Exactly.
Anakin didn't kill Mace Windu. He
But
cut off his hand.
He effectively
He stopped
did.
at him.
We don't
Well,
have
he was the
it's
lawyer who
semantics.
sentenced him to death.
He killed him.
more or less. Anakin made the decision to fight Mace Windu.
He supplied the gun. He did not
he
pull the
took-
trigger.
It doesn't matter. It's
Well,
semantics.
he shot him in the arm.
He
just didn't
cut
shoot
his
him in the
arm
head.
off knowing that the dude could shoot
I'm with you,
force
Richie.
lightning.
He killed him in his heart.
Richie got so serious when he said that.
Does he live in
that
you?
was amazing.
Listen,
He
I
lives in
I
me.
get technically Anakin didn't like shove his lightsaber through Mace Windu, but
Well,
his
he did.
his decision.
His arm.
Well, yeah, but his decision to take Palpatine's side in that fight was his decision to sentence Mace Windu to death.
Yep.
He may not have technically did it himself, but that was
Did he take Mace
that
Windu's
is
side,
the
or did he say
moment.
he needs a
when
proper
when I watch
trial?
Revenge of the Sith, the moment in my mind that Anakin turns to the dark
Yep.
side is deciding against Mace Windu in that moment.
You
That's the
can't
moment.
cut another
Right.
Jedi's arm
Which-
off and just walk
Because
away
he,
from
he
it.
could have just blocked the saber.
Yep.
Which-
He decided to cut his hand off.
Yep.
Which can we talk about what a hypocrite Anakin is when he's like, oh, you can't kill Palpatine, but he straight decapitated Dookie like half an hour before.
Do it.
His powers had doubled, so.
Yeah, I mean that's
That's true. His powers had doubled. You gotta kill.
He had to show it
So
off.
the thing with the Emperor, did he get too ambitious trying to get Luke? Did he get a little too
Way too
overconfident?
big for his boots.
Yeah, he's always taking that next step, always trying to do the next best thing.
But
And
I think that there's a level of that, Matt, but I also think that the First Order is a direct result of what Palpatine did. So he, even though he failed,
Yeah.
quote, in what the way you're defining it, I don't know if he's failed. Because
Well, he
of-
died though.
Because
Which
right,
he
died.
doesn't care if
he always
his
knew
leg-
he was
does-
going to die, though. His idea was in that moment that
Could they live without me?
He knew two things were in his mind. Two things were going to happen. Either Vader, or either Luke was going to kill Vader, and then become his apprentice, or Vader was going to kill Sidious, or Luke was going to kill Sidious, and Vader and Luke would take the Sith, would be the next Sith pairing, and Luke would be trained up to be stronger than either of them, and the cycle would continue. He's not immortal. He always knew that cycle was going to continue.
to cheat death is a power.
There's a
Right.
really
Only one
interesting
has a
conversation that happens in the first Aftermath book where some of Palpatine's former advisors are discussing whether or not you can have an empire without an emperor. And I don't remember.
Right.
There's like disagreement there, but
Yeah, and,
which
and
ties into.
yeah, in Bloodlines, they are very much having the discussion of can you have a unified government without a unifier,
Right.
without that person like your emperor or your Mon Mothma. You need somebody to be that central figure.
I think obviously the answer they came to was no, we need to go find a new guy, which is kind of maybe Palpatine's contingency.
I don't think the thing is I don't think Palpatine was I mean, he was already like what 70 in the Return of
Yeah,
the
he was pretty.
Revenge of
He
the
was
Sith.
pretty old, yeah.
And so he lived 30 more years on past that.
Fueled by
He's
hate.
a magical Sith Lord. I think he can maybe
Let me ask
figure
you
out
this.
how to keep going.
Haven't you guys watched the campaign for the new Star Wars game? Because I
Don't
know they
spoil,
have
please
a
don't
droid that has.
Please don't spoil.
Please don't spoil.
No,
Oh,
oh.
you're talking about. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
so
Yeah.
I just didn't know if you guys
Those
do
are in the
anything.
comics as well.
Yeah,
Yeah. So like, what's that's role?
It's so there was the contingency plan.
right.
And the contingency plan is a plan that Palpatine had created upon his death that a bunch of things would be carried out to help preserve the Empire. Which one of those things was as soon as he died, there was like a robot that had the silhouette of
His
his
face,
face. Yeah, and it went around to key people and gave them instructions on
It was
what
like
to do.
pre-recorded. Like you'd only give the message if.
Okay,
the
I didn't know.
thing-
I didn't know
yeah,
if he had
yeah.
like.
And that's
his
how
own
the First
DLC
Order
in there.
He
started.
wasn't
It was
like
like-
he wasn't like living on in a robot, but
No. Yeah, I didn't
in a
know.
way he has.
That
but
that was
Give,
that was
give
a
EA
big,
$50, I'll tell you.
that was a huge part of Legends, though. And a lot of people really hated the Palpatine line as it went further and further because Palpatine created clones of himself and then just kept
Right.
importing his consciousness over and over and over and over and over into more and more clones of himself, and it was really hard to kill him.
He
So
was powerful, but
I think they're,
come on.
I think that they're like kind of keeping with the idea and the theme that he's living on, but not in transferring his essence to a clone like it was in Legends. I think a lot of people didn't like that. So. Because it was just basically an easy storytelling piece.
It's a little too Star Trek-y.
Right. So, but yeah, I would say, Brennan, the contingency plan, and that's why I was bringing up the has Palpatine, quote unquote, really died, because I don't know if his ideals have really died. You know, like basically the First Order seems to have. I mean, we don't know all the details of what happened in the unknown regions, but the contingency plan was the basis of the First Order.
I think you're right about that. I don't think Palpatine would consider that a success. I mean, as a Sith Lord, he doesn't care so much about. I don't think he really cares about the Sith so much as he cares about himself having power. I mean, that's
true.
I agree
Right.
to a point, because in Aftermath, the contingency plan is also, like, you find out through his person that he assigned to fill out the contingency plan, Gallius Rax. In his conversations, he believed that he was the central, like, Palpatine believed that he was the central figure of a board game, essentially. So, like, if you're playing chess, he was the king. So if you lose the king, you got to wipe the board clean and start over.
Right.
So he was like, you guys, you failed me at this point. This is why we have the contingency plan. I died, which means you all screwed up. So eliminate yourselves, because you don't have the right to rule this, because you failed me.
Right.
And then whoever's left, you can try to pick up the pieces if you want, but it's not mine.
Yeah, that actually makes more sense. You'd almost think that he would rather nobody rule the galaxy than.
Exactly. He's like, if I can't rule the Empire,
Right.
then clearly nobody should.
Yeah. I also think that
Makes
it's kind
sense.
of hard to tell right now. It's kind of hard to tell
That's
how
true.
things are going to play out entirely. Maybe Snoke was the guy he had planned in the back of his mind the whole time. You
Right.
know, who knows?
And with that said, is Snoke really the only person that we can compare to Palpatine in the new trilogy, or do you see bits of him in any of the other characters?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I think you're right, just to get us rolling on the conversation. I think Snoke is the obvious first choice.
Right.
We don't really know a whole lot about him. He's very hidden, and that's how it is with Sidious in the OT when you're first originally watching it.
Mm-hmm.
He is this ominous character behind the scenes, seemed to be doing stuff that we're not really sure what's going on, and he definitely seems to be pulling those strings.
Right.
But man, who else would I put on that? I'm trying to think, maybe the possibility of Kylo, the possibility of Hux, the possibility of Phasma, and I don't think I really see any Palpatine off the top of my head. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm the only one talking here.
Well,
What about his granddaughter Ray?
Oh my God,
every time.
got him. Always got to throw it in.
Every time.
Who said anything about granddaughter?
You think daughter then?
Yeah, for sure.
Dude, Palpatine was getting down.
He's way too old. Anyway.
You underestimate his power.
Pew pew pew.
I think that it's a little soon to tell, but that we could easily be seeing some of Palpatine in our buddy Luke.
Ooh.
Okay. All right.
GTFO.
Okay. All right.
No, I mean
Okay.
in qualities. Just because you can be cunning and have different qualities and not be evil.
Okay.
No.
Well, and that's what I was saying originally with Luke, that Luke defeated Sidious kind of at his own game. He didn't use a lightsaber really to defeat him.
Right.
Do
Exactly.
you think that's true? I mean, because I kind of think he was beaten.
Luke was beaten?
Yeah, because he did. That
Listen,
line about
this is
him.
what I say. It rhymes, right? Sidious overtook the Empire by churning Anakin, right?
Mhm.
Luke overtook the Empire by churning Anakin.
Right.
That
Now
doesn't-
that's true,
Ooh.
but I
I
don't
guess that
think he
rhymes.
planned that out. I think he kind of like had a realization
I don't know, man.
in the
Do you
second.
think Luke went
I
in
think
there
Luke
like
was
ready to?
absolutely knew he wanted his. He's a family man. He's like 100%. His friends and family are the most important things to him.
Which you've said, man.
So you think? That's true. He did go in trying to.
But you
turn
think
him.
he's like, I'll turn my daddy.
But there was a
and
second.
Then we'll take care of Palpatine.
right? Because
Yeah,
remember,
I don't know if he was that.
he
far, but
said the
he
line
wanted
about
to
his sister.
convert his dad. Yeah.
right? He says the line about, "Oh, there's another one, your sister."
I
Right.
think he was going in for his
And then
dad.
he-
That was goal number one.
Right, but then
know?
he drops that line about his sister, and he's like, "Oh, no, that's
He's
the
like,
wrong."
He's like, listen, Dad, I wanted to help you, but if you know about sis, then you're done."
then you're dead.
Yeah.
And he
You got
goes
to die.
all out, and he almost cuts his arm off.
Yeah.
Almost kills him.
Then
Right.
he
Well,
doesn't.
his mechanical arm.
Right,
And then he comes
sees,
back to his
sees what
senses.
that he's becoming what he is.
Right.
And he says, no.
Because of vision that he had in the tree.
Thank you, base tree.
Back to
vision.
the original question. I think though that you're right, Sean. I think that there is some things in there that I hadn't thought of because
Yeah.
it does rhyme. You know.
Yep.
Not to be stupid, but it does.
No, yeah. But I think that Sidious was the ultimate in planning for the dark side. And I think that Luke became extremely good at planning for the light side. But then he falls because of a descendant of Vader, you know, because of Kylo. But I don't know. That's my thought.
Fun talk.
Yeah.
Palpatine, man. Really cool villain.
Great villain.
I wish they would have showed more of his badassery in the movies instead of just in Clone Wars.
I'm
'cause
glad they didn't.
when he fights Darth Maul in Savage, boy, that was awesome.
That's really cool, but I think it kind of the mystique.
Yeah, I think even much more. They've shown us much more of like his fight with Yoda would have taken away. I'm glad that it feels like it ends prematurely. Because like Yoda just kind of nopes out after a little bit. He realizes he's not going to win, and he just leaves.
And even in Return of the Jedi, I mean, think about that before the other movies came out. And you're like, oh, it's just a harmless old man. Just kill him. Just kill him already. He's just sitting there.
Right.
And then you find out, oh,
It's not that easy.
he's got that Force lightning, which we had never seen anywhere before.
So
That just came out. You didn't know. You didn't know he could do that.
Wait, didn't Dookie do it though?
well,
Dookie was
you're talking about.
I'm
yeah.
talking
Kills
about
me when you say Dookie.
when you originally watched
Oh
Return
yeah,
of the Jedi.
yeah. What?
Yeah.
What is that?
That would have been cool because you didn't know he could do that.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
So
Anyway,
Anyway, that's going to be it for us. So thanks, guys, for listening in. We'll be at you next week, probably with a light side character. Who knows what it'll be? If you have any suggestions for us, let us know. Hit us up on Twitter and let us know, or go ahead and talk to us on Discord. I know we've got a couple of you guys on there and enjoy talking to you. So go ahead and say hello, and thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.